One of the great things about tiny homes is that you can get all the perks of a big home without a big price tag. Today we're looking at 5 tiny homes, all under $80,000. So let's get into it. First up is Cindy's tiny home, which has full-size appliances and a ton of windows, and cost only $55,000. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Cindy, and this is my Sunflower tiny house. It was built in 2019, and come on inside, I'll give you a tour. Welcome to my living room. Well, as you go along this tour, you're going to see a lot of sunflower things because, you know, when you're called the Sunflower House, you end up collecting a lot of sunflowers. So I just got these new sunflower pillows that I'm really happy with. And this sunflower garland, which actually lights up at night, which is really fun. With my house, which was built by a company named Crop, came the sofa and also this blue chair, as well as the curtains and all the blinds. So that was really an added bonus that I got with this house. So now we're moving on to the kitchen. And one of the great things about this tiny home is that I have full-size appliances. And I actually have a gas stove, which I really love, of course a microwave, and then a full-size refrigerator. Now you may notice the one thing that is missing is a dishwasher. That's because that's me and this little appliance right here, but that's okay. I did get to choose the countertops and the backsplash, as well as the wall color and cabinet color in here. So I had lots of little customizations that I could make, and that was great. I feel like I have lots of cabinet space. I have cabinets all up here and then down below, and plenty of drawer space, which was one thing I was a little bit worried about when I was moving into a tiny house, but I've been very pleased with all of the space that I have here. So this doubles as my dining room and my office desk. I work from home, I'm self-employed. I just started a publishing company this past year called Sunflower House Publishing, of course. So I just put my computer up and all of my things on this table. Works out great. And then this hutch I really loved because it gave me space to put all of my business items. So in here, I actually have a printer and plenty of drawers and space for all of my business items, which is great. And then this cabinet right here, I call the fun cabinet because it has my collection of wine glasses and shot glasses and fun things like that. You'll also notice that I have these signs that say for guests because I Airbnb my home. Since my personal items are here, I sort of designate things like these are for the guests, or I'll have little signs that they say, thank you for respecting this personal item. And so they'll just know, which things that they are free to use and which ones they're not. So there were several features in my bathroom that I really wanted and I love. So I have a really nice amount of counter space in the bathroom with plenty of drawers and storage. And then I actually have a bathtub with a shower, which is great. And I really enjoy that. And here at Coney Bell, we are hooked into a sewage system. So we have just regular toilets like everybody else. And I feel like it's a really nice sized bathroom for a tiny house. So my washer and dryer has some sentimental attachment to it. When I first moved in, I did not have this. In fact, for the first 2 years, this was just a storage unit. And here at Coney Bell, we have a washer and dryer over at our clubhouse. So I would go over there and wash and dry my clothes. Then a dear friend of mine passed away and she wanted me to have her washer and dryer. And it was quite the feat to get it in this space here. We had to take off the refrigerator doors and the cabinet doors, but it fits in here and it's a full size washer and dryer. And I love having it in my house now. So one of my must-haves for a tiny house was that the bedroom be downstairs. And I really preferred having a tiny house that was all one level with no loft. And so that's what I got. I am in my early 60s and I just could not see myself climbing down a ladder or stairs in the middle of the night, you know? So I love this little bedroom. It really is just a perfect size for me. I have a queen size bed. And one of the great things is that underneath this bed, I just pull it up, storage all underneath. And I also have two closets, which was another thing that was important to me. So all of this was built in, and I love having this dresser with plenty of drawers. And I have enough space that I'm even able to leave some empty drawers for my guests when they come in so they have some room to put their things in there. So I have 3 windows in here, and actually throughout my whole house, I believe I counted at one time, I think there's 18 total windows. And that was another must-have for me when I was picking out a tiny house, was having lots of windows. And I actually have an air conditioner that's back here that's hidden behind this curtain. So you can keep nice and cool in the summertime back here in the bedroom. So now we're outside on my deck, and I opted with the Trek flooring, which is maintenance free, and I'm so glad that I did that. So my deck is 8 by 16, and I just love spending time out here. I have a grill, which I use quite frequently, and it's just really nice and homey place to sit out here, have my coffee in the morning, or sometimes I'll come out here and have lunch, and it's just nice and peaceful. So one of the things I wanted was a sliding glass door. I just felt like that was a better use of the space. So I'm really happy with that. I have vinyl siding, which is really great because it's just so easy to clean. I just have to power wash it like once a year, and any dirt that's gotten on it just comes right off. I also love this little feature up here where my windows are up higher, these little tiny shutters. I just think they're so cute. An important thing I learned when I got a tiny house is that you really need to insulate underneath. And you can do that with skirting. And so my skirting is a outside board, and also then under that we even wrapped the pipes so that they are extra insulated. And so this way you don't have freezing water when it gets below 32. Fortunately, I've never had that problem. And I really do think it's because, I've insulated really well. I truly have loved this community here. It also feels very safe. A lot of us are single women that live here, and I feel very safe in this community. It's just really great to have friends and like-minded community around you. Again, I'm Cindy Bolero, and I've been happy to have you visit my Sunflower Tiny House. If you'd like to come stay here, you can find us on Airbnb under Sunflower Tiny House in Oconee Bell. And also, if you'd like to check out the books that I have published, you can look up sunflowerhousepublishing.com, and all the links will be below. Thanks so much.
I love how bright and airy Cindy's tiny home is. And if you thought that $55,000 price tag was impressive, wait until you hear how much Kevin and Elizabeth built their tiny home for. They used reclaimed materials and did all the labor themselves to keep costs low. Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
I'm Elizabeth. Come take a tour. Welcome to our kitchen. We have a butcher block countertop here where you can dine. And then on the wall, we have photos that we've taken from Montana, just around the area. With the butcher block countertop, we made it long enough so that when you need to do dishes, you have a space to do so, or to sit here and dine, or if you happen to be using the microwave or whatever, you have a place to put your food or hot pads and so forth here. And it just gives you that space to work. So we chose the open shelving just because there's not a lot of storage here in the cabin. And it just gives it a nice touch to the home. So the cabinet down here has a pull-out drawers, and that just gives us the opportunity to put spices and pots and pans in here. It just gives it a convenient storage. And then we have this lovely window here that you could look out and see the wildlife. So we chose this deep sink just to be able to do your dishes and enjoy life here if you wanted to leave them for the next day, whatever you choose. So then we chose this 4-burner stove with the oven. It is propane, but convenient for you to be able to cook out here if you choose to go that route. The flow of our kitchen had changed over time, and that's okay because we had to really think the whole process out, you know, the bathroom and where it was placed and the stove and the refrigerator. And so we wanted more of that open concept. And so this is how we ended up with our kitchen the way it is. So here we are in our living room. We purchased this electric fireplace, and it has the option of flame with heat or without. We originally had a propane fireplace in here, which worked out nice, but we decided to go ahead and go with the electric instead. We have some really nice windows in here that brightens up the room more. The furniture is from Costco. We every time we went shopping at Costco, we ended up with some furniture. So that made it kind of fun though. The couch does lay down into a bed, which is a wonderful option for those that don't want to go up into the loft. The ladder, we purchased a couple of the blankets, but I also made one to flow the colors together in the cabin. So the beam that we have up here, we were given, and we thought we had to just put this touch to the cabin that would really make it rustic looking. And so then we added the fan to bring some cool air and light in. So the shelf up here, my husband put a couple of cedar planks together and made this beautiful shelf. And I was able to find some decor from around town that brings the Montana mountain theme in. And so that was what we did up here. So on the wall, we applied a texture spray, and we really like the look of that in the cabin. On this side, we have the ladder that my husband built that leads up into the loft, and he'll meet you up there.
Basically, when we went to build the tiny cabin, we were looking at the loft and would we turn it into the bed area or not. We decided, yeah, that's what we wanted to do. We also had to think about the peak of the roof so that we could actually be able to stand up here and not hit your head everywhere and utilize the space that we could. So that's why the peak of the roof is so steep. Additionally, we wanted a steep roof because we get quite a bit of snow up here in northwest Montana. So when we did this, all the cedar was given to us. There was a guy that was tearing some cedar out of a place, and it was a couple, 3-4 truckloads of it. So we had to go ahead and resand everything, cut the bad spots out where they had demoed it, and get all the nails and all that out. But there was plenty of cedar left to go ahead and build the cabin, and plenty to be left over. Something unique though with the pitch of the roof is it caused us to have to build our own trim work. So that was unique, and we didn't plan on that, but we worked through it and just did the angles ourselves and just milled it out and did the angles on the miter saw, and everything worked out pretty darn good for us in the long run. So, but that was one unique thing that we had to do. Additionally, we did a lot of milling work as well on a sawmill. We have a lot of trees on the land, and one of the things we did is as you cut the first layer off of the tree, it leaves the bark and things, and we used the railing. We used a piece of that for the railing just to give it that outside feel like my wife was talking about earlier, just to bring the outside into the cabin. So another thing, when we were up here in the loft, we had to figure out how to make it feel more roomy, but yet get the stuff that you needed to make a bedroom out of it. So The bed came from Costco, so I know a lot of people like that. It's quick, easy. You get to see what you're looking at and what you want. It is a queen size bed. We wanted at least that big up here, so that was a limiting factor on the rest of the stuff. However, my wife had her old dresser from when she was a child. It's been sitting around for a while. We decided, hey, it's a 2-drawer dresser. It fit perfect in here. Just a little decor from one of the stores locally here, and then a tree here. They come from Hobby Lobby as well. And then just some lighting and things like that we had here. We also, when we were thinking ahead, we put 2 outlets here and here. We wanted them low enough that you could use, hide them, and then we also knew that up here would be probably where you would charge your phone or be able to read at night. So we did put 2 separate outlets up here, and we thought through that as well. So in the bathroom, we had to make it very small for the tiny home. It's a little inconvenient, but it's big enough to function just pretty much as what you need. A smaller shower, of course. We have a smaller sink, minimum storage, and then the toilet over here. So being as we're out in the woods here in Montana, we also had to think about how are we going to get water here? How are we going to get electric here? How are we going to get, septic system to work? So the water, we put a 60-gallon water tank out back. And so we just took and thought of a camper. What would we do in a camper? So we put a camper water heater in, we put the pump from a camper in, and then the septic system as well is a camper septic system. So it goes into a storage tank. We can take that storage tank and then just take care of the solid waste later. So when we went into the septic, we had to look for the tank that was going to hold all the sewer and take care of that. So what we did was, again, we went back to the camper idea, and there's different size tanks you can get. We settled on about a 26-gallon tank. It lasts 3 to 4 days if we need to, longer if we have to. And then basically when it gets to where you think it's full, you just unhook it. You can take it, put it in your truck, take it into town or wherever you need to go to dump the sewage. The thing we did too with the water was we took every connection, we have a shut-off valve there because we weren't sure, being this far away from town, we had to be able to shut off water as we needed if something would happen or we had a break. This is our outside area. So what we did was, being as it is a tiny home, we needed some place that we could just get out and breathe the fresh air in Montana here. So what we did was we just created this space, just a simple mat on the ground, couple lounge chairs, brought a log from the firewood that we're going to cut and split, but that was just about the right size to use for the flower pot. This is an end of a stump that we just cut off just to have for a table or just to put things on out here. We use a propane fire pit most of the time. We can do a live fire out here, but it depends upon the time of the season. There's a lot of no burn time that we can't because of the forest fires and things like that, how dry it gets up here in northwest Montana. We use birch off the land, so I just cut a couple birch here, drove them into the ground to hold up the awning, and it just provides some shade for us throughout the day. So that's the sitting area. So thank you for spending some time with us today, and we just appreciate you coming and seeing what we have, enjoying the land, and looking at our tiny home here, a tiny cabin.
Yeah, if you happen to be in the area or would like to contact us to stay at the cabin, we're more than willing to have you here. You can contact us at alotofpines@gmail.com. That is alotapines@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us. We are blessed to have this cabin and to have built it by ourselves, and wanted to share it with those in the world.
Thanks.
I adore the cozy cabin vibes of James and Elizabeth's home. What was your favorite feature in their home? Let us know in the comments below. Up next, we have Elsie, and she lives in a tiny home community just like me, and you can tell she loves living tiny. Let's take a look at her $67,000 tiny home.
Hi, I'm Elsie. Come take a tour of my home. Welcome to my living room. My tiny house is 8.5 feet wide by 24 feet long. That's about 192 square feet. With tiny living, everything has to go down. The amount of stuff and the size of stuff so that you feel comfortable. It's a little bit of an adjustment. My son-in-law bought me a big TV and I had to say, I'm only 5 feet away from the TV. I'm sorry, can you use this somewhere? Because I can't. You have to totally change your mindset. You have to literally get rid of everything. But the great part about it is when you go through your little collections, whatever they are, you're surrounding yourself then with things that mean something to you and things that you love. And that energy is palpable. When I walk in here, I know I'm home, and these are my little bit of stuff that means something to me. I have a tendency to move furniture a lot, which is really kind of challenging when you go tiny because there's really not as many options. So I have actually flipped how I have things. Sometimes I have the chair over there and the TV over there. The reason why I like it this way best is because of what my view is. So when I'm sitting in my chair and relaxing, it's important to me that I'm looking out at the trees. After living tiny for a year, I still love living tiny. That's the most important thing. I wholeheartedly back my decision to go tiny, and I encourage anyone that's thinking about tiny to talk to other tiny dwellers and see how they feel about it, what they gave up. Do they miss what they gave up? I don't miss anything. I follow a lot of people, and Christine Kane says you should break issues down to doable, dreamable chunks. That's what I did. I said, what's important to me and how am I going to get there? And I felt excited that I pulled it off, that I did whatever I had to do to get in here. You know how little kids go, ee? That's how I felt. I mean, I was home. This is where I work. I do accounts receivable, and I only have to do it part-time. I'm on Social Security, so that helps supplement my revenue, and that's all I need. It's a very easy, comfortable way for me to make a living, no stress of commuting or any of that. And I'm comfortable right here in my tiny house. As we leave my office/dining room, you make that long commute over here to the bedroom. The way this home was originally designed, and I worked with a builder to change the design, there was a wall right here. A queen-size bed was behind the wall, and the closet, which you'll see later, was over in the corner, and then there was a door. And all of this space was used up, which basically meant you would get 6 feet left as your living room, and it was just a waste of space. By taking out that wall, I actually get 10 feet, not 6 feet. In a tiny house, 4 feet's a lot of feet. It allows me to use this space for both day and night, and it feels like great economy. I chose a day bed so that when I have company, we can just kind of hang out. I have had 4 or 5 people in here, and we just drink coffee, drink wine, have dinner, whatever. And my granddaughter, she doesn't like sleeping in the loft. So I bought this because it's a trundle, and you pull this out and it's another single bed. And she can have her own single bed, and I can have my single bed, and we can sit and have a little slumber party, and it's awesome. It's fun. It's so fun. Welcome to my kitchen. I know it looks small, right? But it does everything that a kitchen needs to do. Being a typical American woman, I've had my share of cooking responsibilities. I've cooked for 50 years. Now I can still cook, but I have simplified things a lot. I avoid cooking whenever I can because, after all those meals, 50,000+ meals, some of the luster of cooking has worn off. So I just do my favorites. And this kitchen accommodates anything I want to do. I have an induction cooktop. Takes a little getting used to, but now that I'm used to it, it's very efficient. I use an air fryer a lot, and some of that is so that I don't make a mess. And then this is not only a microwave, but it's a convection oven. I actually made a meatloaf in it last night, followed up by some Toll House cookies. So definitely works. It's an apartment-sized fridge. It's a smaller fridge, but it's not like, you know, those little dorm fridges. It's not like that. It's got a full freezer, full fridge, especially it's snowing out, so I'm not gonna be going anywhere for a couple of days. Packs out with food just fine. It is a relatively small sink, but it's a deep sink. If I make a bowl of cereal, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna walk over here, I'm gonna wash out my bowl, dry it off, and put it away. Why not? I don't need a dishwasher. I have one bowl. I have a little bit of counter space on both sides, so it's perfect. There's a reasonable amount of storage here, but yes, I had to pare down. I had to buy new cookware anyway because the induction cooktop takes a special kind of pan. These drawers are self-closing. Yay! Look at that. Instead of a pantry out in a room somewhere, I've got a pull-out pantry. I don't keep a lot of stuff up here because I need a footstool to get to it, and I'm lazy and I don't want to do that. This is my closet. It's only 24 inches wide. I dress very simply. I work from home. I only do casual things these days, so I don't need a lot. I've got half dozen pairs of pants and 10 or 20 shirts, and I'm done. Because I've pared down my wardrobe as much as I have, I use one of my dresser drawers for food storage as well. Before we go into the bathroom, I should mention that yes, there is a loft. I use it for storage, and I don't have that much. I'm not a believer in, oh, I have all the storage I want because I want to cram stuff in it. The whole point for me of going tiny is let it go. This bar here, not for exercise. There's a ladder that I can place there and use that for whatever I want or put something away. Now, let's go in the bathroom. I think you're always wondering, like, how small is this gonna be and how small is that gonna be? Is the bedroom big enough? Is the bathroom, it fits everything, is it too small? From the very beginning, everything felt super comfortable for me. I'm not a small person. I should think that almost anyone would be comfortable in this space. I mean, maybe if you're a linebacker, you might have issues, but I found it very comfortable for me. The shower is super comfortable. It's about 3 feet by 3 feet, which is plenty of room for me. I feel comfortable in it. I can move, I can turn, I can wash my hair. It's just like a regular shower in a regular house. This is a combination washer dryer. I've never used a washer dryer combo. It takes a little getting used to, but having my own washer and dryer here inside in the property, it just makes it more convenient and easy. You know, it washes and it dries. Overall, this bathroom works great for me. I had a choice of the sink and got the one that I wanted. I have a regular flush toilet. I had often thought about a composting toilet, but I opted to go flush because I'd be in a regular community, and I like the size of the shower. So all in all, it works really well for me. Thank you for stopping by. If you'd like to keep up with me, you can find me on Facebook. The link will be in the description below. Have a great day. Bye.
I love Elsie's outlook and positivity. Up next, we have Noah, a tiny home builder. He managed to make a budget tiny home look more like a luxury condo. All in, he spent about $26,000 to make himself a beautiful home.
Hi, my name is Noah. This is the first tiny home that I built for myself. Come along for a little tour and I'll show you some of the things that I learned along the way. This is one of the smaller tiny homes I've ever built. It's 20 feet long, 10 feet wide, so about 200 square feet. and basically just has a very simple open concept layout. I knew I didn't want to climb up a ladder to get into a loft every night, so I'd have to kind of squeeze everything into this small space, and managed to do that with a pretty effective and functional layout. So this is the kitchen space, relatively small and compact, but still pretty functional. This countertop itself is 8 feet long, and basically have two 24-inch banks of drawers with a propane cooktop over top of it, another 24-inch cabinet with a 23-inch sink, which is extra deep as well, just to provide a little bit of extra space in there for dishes and things like that. And then just a basic little mini fridge. And at the far end, I have this piece of arbutus that works as a beautiful bar top as well, just so you have a little bit of a space to sit and eat there. And originally the plan was to have a toaster oven underneath the bar top as well, but so far I've just used that for book storage. And then just a couple small upper cabinets here that I trimmed down so that they're about half the original depth, just so that it wouldn't stick out into the space as much. And then I installed LED strip lighting underneath them. It was really important to me that I would have a few different zones in here so I could really adjust and dim the lighting to my needs. I'm not a big cooker. For me, this kitchen has been totally sufficient for my needs. One other consideration is that I did just install a small bathroom fan above the stove rather than a full hood fan, just because I wanted the space to feel a little more open. So if you're someone who cooks a lot of meat or something like that, then that could be a consideration for the design, as well as adding a small oven underneath the bar. That would be a good addition to somebody who likes to cook a little bit more. Due to the fact that I lived in vans and smaller spaces than this before I moved into the tiny home, I actually shop less now than I used to. One recommendation or consideration that I would have for anybody going tiny or transitioning to that would be to have like an exterior deep freeze where you could keep things stored, so you don't have to have a big freezer inside and you can just kind of do less shopping that way. So in terms of the sort of aesthetic decisions around the kitchen, it was all pretty straightforward. I had a few different kind of color tones and palettes that I was working with throughout the start of the build, which I knew I wanted to have incorporated into the design with the dark gray and the black and then the darker wood tones as well. So I just kind of stuck with that, and then when it came time to do the floor, I just tried to find something that had similar tones to these darker tones in the countertop, and then along with the stain on the ceiling as well, just to draw all those components together. In order to keep things organized in the small kitchen, but really just in the tiny home as a whole, it's just important that everything has a home and goes back to that home when you're done using it. It's very easy and quick to cause the place to get cluttered. So when I'm cooking or kind of reorganizing or doing anything, it's just important that things go back to where they live, and you're just almost forced to have a tidier house in that sense as well, because you just can't function when there's things everywhere. So this is sort of the closet area, I guess you could say. I custom built this whole cabinet with the drawers and everything to fit the space. And then I just bought the faces off of IKEA so that it all matched the kitchen cabinets. I got lots of hanging storage up here. And then, yeah, just two large deep drawers for all my clothing down there. I also have storage underneath the bed as well. So kind of seasonally, I can change what I have in here. And as long as I stay on top of that, then this is kind of more than enough space for all the clothing storage that I need. And then just to my left here, as you come in the front door, there is also hanging storage, shoe rack. It's one of the things that are often missed in design of tiny homes, is that when you walk in the door, there isn't somewhere to like hang your jacket and put your shoes and things like that. So just adjusting the door location and everything to ensure that there was easy accessible storage there right as you enter the space. In terms of the overall feel of the kitchen, for myself, as someone, like I said, who doesn't cook a whole lot, it's worked quite well for me. And to be honest, there isn't a whole lot that I would change. If I was building this design for somebody else, I would definitely take into consideration how much and what they like to cook, and then we could kind of tweak the design accordingly to accommodate their needs a little bit better. This is kind of the living room seating area. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I wanted to maximize storage as much as possible in here. So these are basically just boxes built around the wheel well. The cushions lift up and then there's cubbies underneath there. So you can access all that storage. There was a consideration to put drawers in underneath here. Ended up just going for cubby storage, mainly because drawers just reduce the quantity of storage that you have with the hardware and the drawers themselves. So a little bit more work to kind of get your stuff out of there, but you are left with the maximized storage capacity. So just moving back to the bed, got a full-size mattress that was kind of the largest mattress that I could fit while still having enough space for the bathroom. Nice large 4-foot by 4-foot window. I really wanted to feel like I was sleeping outside, so it was really important to me to have a lot of glass next to the bed. And then above the bed, we just have this really sort of pleasing ambient light that comes from the LED strip that's embedded in the cedar 4x4 up there. And that's on dimmers as well, so I can really just kind of like tweak that just how I like it, and it just gives the whole space a really nice ambient light. To the right, there's a small cubby where I'm able to just keep like a glass of water and things like that. And in that, I also hid the light switch for the bed light, as well as a plug to charge your phone and stuff. I wanted to keep this space as clean as possible when you're kind of standing out here looking toward it, so I didn't really want to see the plugs and the switches and things like that. So by embedding them in the back side of the little cubby, it was easily accessible when you're sitting in bed, but it also helped keep the space really clean. This is the bathroom, pretty small, compact space, but managed to fit kind of everything that I needed in here. Little 30-inch vanity with a custom mirror above the sink where I put some live edge yew wood around it just to kind of make it pop a little bit more. Nice small windows, you still have some privacy, but you also have ventilation there as well. Just a standard flushing toilet. And then this is the cedar shower that was a little bit of a labor of love, but I really enjoyed kind of how the final product came out. I knew I didn't want to do tile because, like I said earlier, the tiny home was on the RV trailer, and so I wanted to save weight as much as possible. And I wanted to do something that would be warm and inviting and would kind of tie into the aesthetic of the tiny home that I've been going for. Basically, you have a plywood backer that's got a Mapai shower waterproofer coated, and then a few coats of just black paint on top of that. The cedar itself is mounted to aluminum pieces that are spaced off of the wall itself so that the whole section can breathe. And that also means that each wall is a single panel, so each wall can come off individually, and I'm able to actually clean it and restain it if I needed to. And yeah, so far it's held up really well. I have an outdoor bath, so I don't use the shower probably as much as you would if you didn't have that, but it's been a nice feature of the tiny home, and a lot of people have said some very positive things about it. Welcome to the outside of my tiny home. The exterior siding is just a cedar channel siding, and then these are just clear cedar shingles that all were pre-sanded and stained before they were installed. I knew I wanted to have a relatively large deck with the tiny home just to obviously increase your living space. The deck itself is 18 feet by 10 feet, so almost the full length of the tiny home. It was built in two 10-foot by 9-foot or 90 square foot sections, so it could come apart easily when it comes time to move the tiny home. And then one of my favorite features of the whole thing is the outdoor bath. I have a on-demand propane hot water heater that I just ran hot water line as well as the cold line to a hose bib on the outside on the back wall there, which was originally actually going to be an outdoor shower, but turned into just a perfect feed for the outdoor bath. And with the on-demand hot water heater, you're able to just kind of set your temperature, so you don't have to go back with the hot and cold water to get it right every time. And that's been a really enjoyable feature of the tiny home for me. Thanks for checking out my tiny home. As I mentioned earlier, I do build tiny homes professionally. My company is called Left Coast Tiny Homes. And so the link will be in the description if you want to check out the other models that I offer. And we are also building saunas, and in the future we'll be offering saunas on trailers, which is a product that I'm really looking forward to getting out. So yeah, head down to the description and take a look at that.
Noah really has created a beautiful home for a surprisingly affordable price. Last up, we have Tamera, who moved from a 3,000 square foot home to a 399 square foot tiny home. She got her tiny home with upgrades for $79,000. Let's take a look.
Welcome to my living room. One of the things that I wanted in my living room was to ensure I had a lot of space. There were a lot of floor plans that I could choose from, and I chose to pay a little bit extra on an upgrade to have this bump out window. I gained space because I could push my sofa back, and then that still gave me floor space here. I have a hodgepodge of different furnishings. I like reusing this old student desk. It's beat up. It's so beat up, but it I bought it at a yard sale, and it was just fascinating that it was still stood the test of time. But everything else you'll see, it just looks reused. It is. There's a vibe in the house, and you'll soon see as we go through the tour, there's just little nuances of my personality, of things just designed to make me relax, to help keep me in that even mode. It just helped me lead into this new life in this tiny home. I came from a 3,000 square foot home. Actually, it was a little bit larger than that. So imagine my kitchen. It was pretty big, lots of storage. But you know, I don't miss what this house has. It doesn't make me miss the kitchen I had prior to this home. I had the options of being able to customize this home and have it built to my preferences and my user aesthetic and my user needs. In this kitchen, I was able to fit full-size appliances. I have a double sink. I have a full-size gas stove. It's got 5 burners and an oven. I have a full-size refrigerator and a microwave. I don't have a dishwasher. I don't want a dishwasher because I'm the dishwasher. It was important to me that I had a counter that I could entertain at. I mean, it's small, but you know what? Friends are usually on the opposite side where you're at, and I'm over here cooking and doing what I need to do, and we can visit. In order to save some storage space for the bigger items, I decided to go ahead and put like my cups on the outside for easy access. I got this over the sink dish dryer. It really works well. This little utensil holder, because you know most people have their utensil holders on the counter. I don't want to use my counter space for that. I figured I'd make these cabinets work for me. Storage underneath here, you can't see that, but it's there. It's corner spaces, and I pull out shelving on it. Be very mindful when you are selecting what you're bringing into your tiny home, especially in your kitchen. You're embarking on a whole new lifestyle when you come into a small home, and that's just part of it. I have storage here, and there's 2 cabinets here that I put things in, and I'll give you a peek because I wasn't sure I would want to share, but I don't know how messy it looks, but there's what my cabinet looks like inside. I'm not showing you the bottom part though. You're not going to see that. I think it's a little messier. Over here I have storage. It's a little rolling pantry or a storage. I think people use it for crafts. If you use something that you find might work in my kitchen, please drop it in the comments and let me know. I'm always open to looking for better, more efficient ways of making my house work for me. Thanks. So come with me. We're going to look at the other side of the house now. This was the front side. Come on to the back and we'll see what it looks like there. I needed a washer dryer. I wanted a washer dryer in the house. So I have the dryer up here. It's electric, and then the washer down here. In this bathroom, I have used some creative storage solutions. I have gotten the over-the-toilet storage rack, and I have gotten this little rack here. It's another organizer, probably for crafts, that you can store your things in as well. You can tell there's not a whole lot of space here for cosmetics or, you know, the usual products that somebody might use. So it's all behind the glass doors of the medicine cabinet. So my usual routine would be just coming in here, brushing my teeth, and I hide that behind here in the middle cabinet. I just have the basics on the countertop. I had the choice of having a bathtub or the shower, and I opted for the shower. And the reason why I opted to have the shower was because it gave me more floor space. And then that gave me a linen closet. So I store all my linens. I'd open it, but I think things might fall out right now because I kind of push things in there pretty quick. I was just talking to a friend, and we were saying that hardly anybody ever irons anymore, but I have an ironing board, and it's a tiny ironing board, and I love it. Yeah, if you see any ideas that you like in my bathroom, and you have any comments that you think might work for me, again, I'm open to hearing what you might have to say as well. Initially didn't know how I was going to use a loft. All I could think again was I'm going from 3,000 square feet to 399 square feet. I did not know how it was going to work for me, and there was that option of having a loft, so you know what, I went for it. If I have a family member that comes and they want to spend the night and stay with me for a weekend, it won't feel crowded. They'll have their own sense of privacy up here. I do sleep up here in the winter because heat rises, and it's just a nice way for me to stay warm in the winter because we do get some pretty brutal temperatures here in Washington. I have a recliner here because there's a TV. I don't think you can see it from where we're sitting. I have a ukulele collection, and depending on what mood I'm in, I keep my ukuleles up here, and I have to, check on them because it is warmer up here, and I just got to make sure that they stay nice and humidified. This is the bedroom. It is a queen-size bed. I had this over the bed bookcase, and the storage up here is an option. And the neat thing with the builder is, you can pick and choose what you want. And so I went for, I didn't know what it was going to be like living tiny, so I went for whatever I could afford. Cabinet space underneath on these they call them nightstands, but they're pretty tiny. But around each of these is a USB on both sides of the bed. This is the other side of the bedroom. They call it a his and a hers closet, but I call it the hers and the hers. Actually, I use it for seasonal, the coats, and on this side, there is, hangy stuff, and then I put little drawers in here. And then, of course, a bank of drawers for, your other shirts and whatever you put in drawers. This open space is designed for a 32-inch TV. It's got all the hookups back there, but I don't watch TV in my bedroom. So I put the decorations up there instead. This builder has a drop-down bedroom. It works for taller people, so they're not bumping their head. When you're up in the loft, this is a drop floor, so you have a little more headspace up there on this side of the loft. So it all kind of balances out. Think of your habits, evaluate yourself, and be honest with yourself as you're planning your tiny home, and especially your bedroom, because this really needs to be the place that you rest and that you can re-energize for the next day. So make it your peaceful place. If you send me in your comments and you give me some good things that might work in my house and I go for them, you might want to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is the YOLO Bungalow Park Model Life. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that you took time out of your day because you wanted to check out my house. So thank you very much, and I hope you had fun too.
Thanks for tuning in to see these 5 tiny homes, all under $80,000. Let us know in the comments which one was your favorite. See you next time.